Hello and welcome to a new episode of Hearables, a podcast by Nikolaj from Bragi. Today I have with me Alex, and Alex is working for a company that makes awesome things that I'd like to talk about today. Alex, would you give us a short introduction to who you are and what you're doing?
Yeah, sure. I'm Alex Bordanova. Thanks, Nikolaj, for bringing me here. I take care of all the experiences and technology at Voicemod, and we provide, as you mentioned, like really entertaining and cool experiences.
That's awesome. But what does that actually mean? Like, what is a cool experience, and who do you make it for?
Yeah, we come from the gaming background. We provide experience via desktop application. That desktop application enables voice filterings, and these voice filters came from really basic in the past, like chipmunk filter, or we had also like reverb, like really plain simple ones. But then there's the evolution of these technologies into what's the technology today. Of course, we see really inspiring things coming like AI, right? Voice filterings, like adapting third parties, third voices from other people into you, building new characters, building a story behind. So from a plain and simple background to really complex experiences related to existing characters.
So it means that I can lose my current voice and then sound like someone else?
Yeah, in fact, we can go deeper into the health space. There's a big opportunity in there. We have some projects that will ask the user to have a voice vault, so they can record their own voice just to keep it safe for the future, because maybe somebody can lose the voice at some point, or maybe they want to recover the voice of their young me, right? So at some point that could be also an option. But we're speaking now about more funny stuff. So getting the voice of a really known character, like let's say Batman or somebody like you really like, and you can embody and you can have fun with friends. That's the sort of stuff we're working now. We want to put in the hands of the users soon.
So what does it actually do? Can you show me some of the things that you're making? Like can you speak like Batman or Morgan Freeman
Yeah.
or something?
Yeah, today I'm a gamer, right? And not just when it comes to video games, but also like RPG games, tabletop, and I'm doing that online with my friends lately. So one of the voices I really like is the trauma medic.
Yeah, traumatic voice is the voice of a driver of these sort of ambulances that drive around, right? So I think you can listen to the music right in the background. Yeah. So this is all about the atmosphere, right? So being that character is something that I do a lot. Whenever they have problems, suddenly we have the trauma medics coming into the action.
Nice. I used to play Dungeons and
Yeah.
Dragons board games, and this would have been fun.
Yeah,
My
absolutely.
dwarf would have been sounding awesome.
In fact, we are about to release now one collection for Dungeons and Dragons, right? Because we are now having finally the technology that will allow us. There's some format control that is needed to do natural voices that are close to something related to human, but you want to modify like the tract of the throat and the length, the strong, right? The strength of the voice. That's the sort of stuff that we are now putting some love into. Yeah, absolutely. You'll
Awesome.
have your dwarf soon. I was always playing dwarves as well on fantasy.
I like that. So,
Mm.
you know, when I like something, I would do like an emoji. Like, is there something comparable like that in like for uh, for voices?
Yeah, actually, this is probably one of the most engaging things that we have today. It's when we realize that adding sound effects to the casual conversations of people could be super good, but we also find out later they could be useful, right? So the utility is what really makes the game. When you find a tool that people in game can use to not just to have fun with it, because of course meme sounds are great and people can have fun with them, but it's not like that, right? So for instance, if I just like go silent,
2 hours later.
That sort of effects, right? That's the
Yeah.
meme sounds that we want to listen, that we want to have fun. But there's also the useful ones. So quick actions that you can launch while you're speaking. That we are already seeing that. So binding like sound effects with actions or with orders, call to actions for teammates. That's also happening in games as well. So for instance, when you just like crawl in the game, so you bind the same key for an action like I'm crawling, right? Like, hey, just everybody is aware now that I'm crawling. So that sort of actions also being useful for them.
Yeah. So how is this also relevant, like for more serious conversation? Like, you have the gaming, you have like sounding like a troll, you have making like voice kind of emojis where you can send over applauses and saying what you're doing. How does this become relevant in a more like like corporate environment?
Yeah, I'd say that one of the things that really matter is that you feel confident with your voice when you're speaking in front of many people, right? So I can reveal that the past voice was not my voice, right? This is my real voice.
Yeah.
Of course, yeah, it's not the sort of voice I like. I prefer to have a more profound voice. I prefer to have my real me, my real digital me, right? Sounding like this. So this is what we are building now is the design of the voices of the future, what we are calling meta voices, the voices that will allow you to sit on them 24/7, that will give you your identity and how you want to be perceived. So you feel more secure, that you feel more yourself when engaging with people. So we see a battery of use cases for voice technology in the close future.
That's really cool. Like it was a really big shift in the voice.
Yeah.
Of course, now where most people are working from home and working remote, they can adopt how they speak to how they feel they are. It's always weird when you hear your own voice recorded, but now you can actually sound like what you want to sound like.
Yeah, how you listen to yourself, right? Because this is due to how we listen to ourselves from the inside, with all the reverberation, all the frequency reverberation, but also due to the organs, you listen to yourself way more deep than natural. So this is like one way to feel yourself more confident, because when you listen to yourself in the recording, suddenly you realize that this is your real you, right? This is
So just looking back, like you can change your voice, you can send voice emojis, you can have this like more professional sounding item. Like my kids are watching TikTok all the time, and people like singing, dancing, whatever they do. Like, do you have for that too?
Yeah, in fact, we've been running already a program on Twitch that allowed the viewers to change the voice of the streamer in real time, right? So we have an extension so the viewer can pay bits and change the voice on demand, and this is getting a high acceptance. We understand that engagement and content creation during the same show is fundamental. So it's not just about like writing on screen, but it's also like intervening on what's the effect. So yeah, we're doing that. We also have some proof of concepts with TikTok videos, because TikTok already also started same sort of mechanism. So you give a donation and suddenly something happens for the broadcast, and everybody like understands that somebody paid something, that somebody gave some bananas or glasses. The glasses appear and they put on the screen. So we understand that for the microphone should be the same. We can add like suddenly some music, some voice changing into that. So yes, absolutely.
So this is all being done on PC, and we know that both a lot of conversations are happening on the phone, but also a lot of gaming is going to happen on the phone. Like the growth of mobile gaming is going to explode. So this is a leading question, because Bragi is and you are working together on this. Do you want to reveal what we're working on for mobile?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm thrilled to announce that we have a partnership together. That's really key for us, because you are enabling the mobile use case of Voicemod, right? That's like really big for us. We want to make sure that every user on mobile, as you mentioned, uh, can have Voicemod and use Voicemod in the mobile. It's not possible yet, at least until we can like enable that from Bragi side. And we see a lot of opportunities. All the market is going to be mobile first. That's for sure. And being out of that is something that we cannot really keep doing. So yes.
Yeah, so when you have a Bragi-enabled device, you can update it and you can try out Voicemod or subscribe to it. Of course, there's already 2 million monthly users, which is a lot. So the things that we're looking at is that you can do all these things that you're doing here in normal phone calls, in Teams calls, Zoom calls, in Discord connections, anything that is running from the phone as well.
Yeah, that's
So,
exactly. Sorry. Yeah, no. I was going to add into something that I think it's really, really relevant is the fact that it's not just like the utility that we described before. We're also enabling like the denoiser on the input, right? So we're going to be having like cleaner calls for professional use case. You can be walking in the street, all the traffic around you, but you can still attend to your business call with a mobile phone because you're just walking around. So that sort of implications are big for all the society. I think it's really, really incredible.
So we're going to be seeing a lot of TikToks with new voices and fun voices from Batman and all kinds of other people.
Yeah, well, yeah. We in fact think that there's a huge space still. We understand Voicemod is now still on a white label scene. We disclosed a few days ago that we signed a contract with Angry Birds, right, with Rovio. So that's one of the voices that we can put on the mobile next. But we have many more contracts that we already signed, many more agreements that we will show in the next weeks, and I'm sure that we will find a way to bring that to mobile via Bragi.
Awesome. So when we look at this, not just to recap, because I think it's cool, like for fun, it's like voice modification, it's voice emojis. For professional, it's denoising, so taking noise away from your background conversation, even on phone calls. It is making your voice sound like the real thing, like what you think is a real thing. So when we're looking into the future, like some of the buzzwords today is like Web 3.0, NFTs, like metaverse, that kind of thing. So NFTs is the ability to own a certain thing. So I could own my own voice. And if I was famous, which I'm not, but if I was famous, I could sell that voice later on to someone else that they can use it onwards. Like what other things are going to happen that might seem crazy today, but might happen in the near to far future?
Okay, that's the question I was waiting for, because that's my favorite topic, speaking about futures. So we are already starting to enable a voice designer tool, so you can compose your own voice. That voice, of course, I just like touch a little bit of the surface. We scratch the surface with the voice I'm using now, but we understand that the opportunity is super big. We can build anything, right? Because AI is going to enable the everything. We already have some POCs out there, like cloning really known characters out there that you would be highly surprised. We'll show them soon, but we want that tool to build that identity to be something that you can like extract, that you can save us. We can say, right, and that file that we put out there, it needs to be protected somehow. We want to make sure that it is yours because you made it, so you need to own it. And NFT is one of the ways that we see clearly that can help. We have not stepped into that sufficiently. Of course, we're running some tests and we're doing our stuff, but the important thing here is that we are gonna make sure that people can own the identity, so they can just transfer it however they can, but they can also make sure that nobody is really stepping into their identity, so nobody can do a bad use. So we can ensure somehow that the person speaking behind is the person that is supposed to be. That's really, really important, because we are stepping into a world of metaverse with lots of identities, a lot of people playing, of course, but people can play as well. And we need to make sure that we can protect as much as possible the owner of the identity. So after that, we also, of course, see all the benefits from having the voice into an NFT platform in which you can like distribute it, you can transfer it, you can be that voice artist that suddenly designs a voice for somebody, right? So you don't need to be the owner of the voice. You can design it from scratch because we already have enough parameters that you can tweak and generate a voice from zero. So what are you going to do with this voice? Well, maybe as then we had Picasso in that back in the days, and the artists, right? Where are the voice artists? All that artists that are composing the voices of this gaming space that are amazing. For instance, World of Warcraft voices, right? I love the design of these voices. So who are the owners behind of that design? Will they just engage into creating new voices for the people? Will they like to sell them? Will be they part of this economy system that we foresee? Yeah, a lot of opportunities.
And it's not just for speaking; it's also for singing, right? So it's
Yeah.
anything of how you express yourself that you can like kind of save for later use or immediate use.
We are already working on some experiences. In fact, we upload like some Sonar. Do you know Sonar, the festival, music festival in Barcelona? Okay, so there was this concert of Holly Herndon singing with the voice of. Also, it was Marty Dryhurst singing with the voice of Holly Herndon. So she lent the voice that she had right into this archive, and suddenly machine learning allowed Marty to sing with the voice of Holly. So that moment was like pure magic to me. And yeah, we are on that path as well. So getting some singer's voice to allow our users to sing along with that voice and to just sing perfectly with it, that's our future path.
So another thing is also like protecting our children, right? I've got 3 children, and I don't want them to speak in a public space. So, but they could actually do that, speak to videos, but with a different voice, right?
Yeah. In fact, I'd say that it's like a double way, right? We want to make sure first that they are safe, that they are not getting into some toxic spaces. That's more on the parent side. But in case that we are like under control and we understand that it's a safe space, but we don't want to reveal their identity, of course, we have these voice filters. I see that like you are wearing like the voice of these League of Legends characters, for instance, right? You're playing League and suddenly you want the voice of Vi, for instance. So that's the voice that your kid is wearing. It's suddenly impossible to detect the age of who's behind. What can take it to some profanity system that may need, because of course, if you do not detect some kids, it's not because you're misbehaving, it's because you don't know who's there. If you find there's a kid, probably you will just like do not say bad words. But if there are no kids around, maybe you just free yourself. So we need to make sure that we can also enable like profanity filters, inbound profanity filters, and other technologies to help to keep the ecosystem safe for them.
But when it's like when it's valid for kids, it should also be valid of people of any race or heritage or descent. That if they want to, they can change their voice. I have a Danish accent. I would love to get rid of the Danish accent, and possibly I could do that with your technology in the future, right?
Yeah, so do I with Spanish. Yeah, in fact, we have already proof of concept on that. We have some voices that clearly enhance your English, like Brit accent or American accent. So that's not sci-fi anymore. That's already a thing. And well, the next voices, AI voices that we will release will bring that sort of technology inbound. Yeah. So
Awesome.
yeah, finally.
One thing that might happen is that grandma is being called by someone where she thinks, or grandpa where he thinks that it's their grandchild and they need money. Obviously, that's not what this is intended for, but any technology platform can be used for any intent, whether good or bad. So, how do you see this being prevented in the future, that you're misusing voices?
Yeah. We are actively working on watermarking. Watermarking is one of the means that we think that may help a lot to understand if a voice that is sounding is fake or not. So we are going to be probably one of the ways we're exploring is to deliver like inbound tracking systems. So whenever a voice that is artificial gets in, we can track it and we can put some red lights on and For instance, if it's on the SDK of the third party, we can like just send a message to out there, so they can like put it out, and they can make sure that nobody's using that. Or we could go more into the police situation of like banner and just like flag and just like remove the audio. We could do many things, but we are not comfortable because fun is not related with taking down content. So we are more onto the conscious and active exploration on ways to detect and just like advice. That would be probably our place.
So a thing that you would see in a future headphone would be that the headphone says, well, this is a modified voice or this is a real voice. So before starting a conversation, you would know if it's a modified voice or not.
Yeah. Based on the actual use case, probably not everybody will use a modified voice form at the beginning, as I'm doing myself, because today's voices are not comfortable to sit 24/7. But well, I'm now proving, right? This is not my real voice, but I'm using it. It's comfortable. It's good. So I'm sure that at some point you will listen to, let's say, Obama's voice, like as clear, real time as this one today. So at that point, maybe Obama is not the person, because you will track Obama. You will say, okay, Obama probably is not calling me. But yeah, what about my neighbor, right? So it's also on the recording side. What we need to make sure that we are not enabling anybody to deal with, to mess with this technology that is not safe. So if you want to upload your identity, and that's, well, I'm just like a bit on the sci-fi side here, we need to make sure that nobody is being taken the voice and ingested in the system. And that's on us. I mean, that's on all the training methods that we sure that nobody can do a bad use of the tech.
As a short final note, my sister was disabled and she lost her voice, and I would have loved to have her voice today. And what you're doing is important, not just for the fun of it, but also for the ones who are missing their loved ones. And I'm rooting for you. I'm happy to working with you. This is a great thing and if we can at Bragi side be a slight bit of help for that, I'm very happy to do so.
Well, it's our biggest effort to have a social impact on the society for good. We think technology is a great enabler. Of course, it needs control, it needs guardrails, but having the opportunity to help somebody out there with our tech is really a thing that we strive for. Yes. Thank you. Thanks for your words.
Alex, it's been a pleasure having you here today. I'm so much looking forward to see what people think of this when we bring this to the products. Bragi-enabled product will be updated to be supporting Voicemod and the technologies that we've been speaking about today, in terms of having this more personal voice as well as gaming, and a denoiser, taking noise away from the background. And it will be in products near you very soon. Alex, thank you very much for your day or your time today, and yeah, it's going to be a fun ride.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks a lot for your time, Nikolaj.
Awesome.